There comes a moment in every life when you realize something feels off. You speak, but you are misunderstood. You explain, but you are doubted. You react, and somehow you lose. You walk away from conversations feeling smaller than when you entered them. Drained, provoked, pulled into arguments you never wanted. And the worst part? The more you try to clear your name, the more power slips through your fingers. Centuries ago, long before social media, office politics, or public image crises, people played the same games. Kings were tested, courtiers were provoked, reputations were attacked in whispers, not posts. Those who survived learned something brutal and beautiful. Power does not argue. Power does not rush to explain. Power does not react on command. In the shadows of Renaissance Europe, a sharp observer watched this pattern unfold again and again. His name was Niccolò Machiavelli. He did not write about kindness or fairness. He wrote about reality, about how power actually moves through people. And one lesson stands above the rest. Silence is not weakness. Non-reaction is not surrender. Ignoring is not loss. They are strategies. In this video, you're going to learn how quiet power works, not to dominate others, but to protect yourself, your dignity, and your mind. And we begin with the first rule, the one most people fail immediately. Number 1, the person who reacts is no longer in control. In the candlelit halls of old Europe, power was never loud. The most dangerous men were not the ones who shouted. They were the ones who watched, who listened, who let others reveal themselves. Machiavelli observed something unsettling in royal courts. The moment a ruler reacted emotionally, others knew where to strike. A raised voice revealed fear. A rushed defense revealed insecurity. An angry reply revealed leverage. And so the wise learned to do something unnatural. They learned to pause, not because they were weak, but because they refused to hand over control. Here is a truth most people never learn. When someone provokes you, they are not seeking truth. They are seeking movement. They want your emotions, your attention, your energy. The moment you react, the game shifts. Now they are calm because they got what they wanted. Now you are emotional because they chose the battlefield. Reaction flips the power dynamic. Think of it like this. A calm lake reflects the sky. A disturbed lake reflects nothing. When you react emotionally, your clarity disappears. And without clarity, you cannot win, even if you're right. This is why explaining yourself often backfires. You think you're defending your character, but what you're really doing is asking for permission to be respected. Power never asks. Machiavelli understood that in court, accusations were often bait. The true test was not innocence or guilt, it was composure. Those who reacted revealed weakness. Those who stayed still created uncertainty, and uncertainty terrifies manipulators. Everyday examples you'll recognize. Let's bring this into modern life. At work, someone questions your decision in a meeting, not to understand, but to undermine you. If you rush to defend yourself, you look unsure. If you stay calm and say little, others sense confidence. In relationships, someone accuses you emotionally, trying to pull you into chaos. If you react, the argument grows. If you stay grounded, the storm dies alone. With toxic people, they provoke because reaction makes them feel powerful. No reaction? They feel invisible. And nothing bothers an insecure person more than being ignored. Practical instructions. How to use this rule. This is not about being cold. It is about being unmovable. Here is how to apply it safely and ethically. Step 1. Delay your response. Silence for a few seconds feels long, but it restores control. Step 2. Breathe before you speak. Emotion fades faster than you think. Let it pass. Step 3. Speak only if necessary and briefly. Short answers feel confident. Long explanations feel defensive. Step 4. Accept being misunderstood. This is hard, but powerful people are often misunderstood and unbothered. You do not need to correct every false impression. Time reveals truth better than arguments. What this gives you: when you stop reacting, you feel calmer, your mind clears, your presence feels heavier. People start watching you instead of testing you. You realize something liberating. You don't owe anyone emotional access to you. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to chase respect. You don't need to win every moment. Your silence speaks. And those who hope to control you feel uneasy because they no longer can. But here's the danger most people never see. Silence alone is powerful, but used wrong, it can make you disappear. What Machiavelli understood next is even more dangerous, and it decides whether silence makes you feared or forgotten. Number 2, never explain yourself to those who want you small. In the courts of Renaissance Europe, words were dangerous. A single sentence could cost land. A careless explanation could cost loyalty. Too much talking could cost a crown. Niccolò Machiavelli watched rulers fall not because they were wrong, but because they explained themselves to the wrong people. In those marble halls, explanation was not innocence. It was exposure. The powerful learned this early. Only those beneath you demand explanations. Those above you simply observe results. And so the wisest figures spoke less, the higher they rose. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most people do not ask why because they want clarity. They ask because they want control. When someone pressures you to explain yourself, they are often doing one of 3 things: testing your confidence, searching for inconsistency, trying to place themselves above you. The moment you explain, the power shifts. Now you are justifying. Now you are defending. Now you are on trial. And trials are never fair when the judge already doubts you. Explaining gives people material. They dissect your words. They twist your meaning. They use your honesty against you. Machiavelli saw this pattern clearly. In his world, those who spoke too much revealed strategy. Those who justified themselves invited suspicion. Silence, on the other hand, created mystery, and mystery creates respect. Everyday situations where this rule saves you. Let's bring this into your real life. At work, you make a decision. Someone challenges it, not privately, but publicly. If you over-explain, you look unsure. If you calmly state your position and stop, you look composed. Leaders don't narrate their thinking out loud. They decide. In social circles, someone questions your choices. Why did you do that? Why didn't you invite them? Why are you so quiet? These are not innocent questions. They are attempts to pull you into defense mode. In conflicts, someone accuses you emotionally and waits for your explanation, not to understand, but to argue. The more you explain, the more fuel they gain, and suddenly you are exhausted while they feel energized. How to stop explaining without being rude. This rule is not about arrogance. It is about boundaries. Here is how to apply it with calm control. Step 1. Replace explanations with statements. Instead of, "I did this because," say, "This is what I decided." Step 2. Use short, closed answers. You are not hiding, you are concluding. Step 3. Let silence follow your words. Silence signals certainty. Over-talking signals doubt. Step 4. Accept discomfort. People may push harder when you stop explaining. That's how you know it's working. You are not obligated to make everyone comfortable with your choices. What this rule gives you: when you stop explaining, you stop leaking energy. You stop feeling interrogated. You stop shrinking yourself for approval. Your confidence stops being theoretical. It becomes visible. You begin to understand something powerful. People respect clarity, not justification. And clarity often sounds like silence. But here is the next layer Machiavelli warned about. If you never explain, some will try a different tactic. They will provoke you emotionally instead. And what he understood next decides whether you remain untouchable or finally snap. Number 3, control the pace and you control the outcome. In the Renaissance courts, power rarely announced itself. It arrived quietly, it waited, it let others grow impatient. Niccolò Machiavelli noticed something most people missed. Those who rushed were rarely the ones who ruled. Kings lost ground not because they lacked strength, but because they acted too soon. Courtiers failed not because they were wrong, but because they spoke before the moment was ripe. In those stone chambers, timing was everything. And the most dangerous advantage was not force. It was control over the pace. Here is a truth that feels simple, but cuts deep. The person who rushes is responding. The person who waits is deciding. When someone pressures you to answer quickly, react immediately, or resolve things now, they are trying to steal your leverage. Speed favors the manipulator. Patience favors the powerful. Why? Because emotion burns hot but fades fast. And whoever waits watches emotion collapse. When you slow the pace, anger loses momentum. Accusations lose urgency. Manipulation loses grip. The other person begins to reveal themselves. This is why silence unsettles people. But delayed silence unsettles them even more. Machiavelli understood that time exposes weakness better than interrogation ever could. How people tried to steal your pace today. This rule applies everywhere. At work, someone demands an answer right now. They frame urgency to make you panic. They want you to commit before thinking. When you rush, you make mistakes. When you pause, you gain ground. In arguments, someone pushes for an instant reaction. They raise their voice. They speed up the exchange. They want emotional compliance. If you slow down, they lose rhythm. In relationships, pressure to respond quickly is often pressure to surrender clarity. Texts, calls, demands for explanations. Why haven't you answered yet? Speed becomes a test of loyalty, but power does not operate on someone else's clock. How to control the pace? This rule is subtle, and when done right, it feels effortless. Step 1, normalize pauses. You do not need to fill silence. Let others do the talking. Step 2, delay decisions that matter. Say, "I'll think about it." This phrase is simple and extremely powerful. Step 3, respond slower than you're pressured to. Not to punish, not to manipulate, but to regain ownership of your emotions. Step 4, let urgency expire on its own. Most pressure dissolves if you don't feed it. Time is not your enemy, it is your ally. What this rule gives you: when you control the pace, you feel grounded. You stop feeling rushed. You stop feeling cornered. Your confidence deepens, not because you speak louder, but because you speak later. You realize something freeing. You don't need to keep up to stay in control. The world slows down when you do. But Machiavelli warned of something even more dangerous. Some people don't want answers. They want reactions. And when slowing down isn't enough, there is one move that makes manipulators expose themselves completely. Number 4, become unreadable and you become untouchable. In the old courts of Europe, danger did not always wear armor. Sometimes it smiled. Sometimes it praised you. Sometimes it asked friendly questions. Those who survived learned a quiet art. Never let others fully know you. Niccolò Machiavelli watched rulers who were honest, open, and emotionally transparent fall faster than those who were reserved. Not because openness was wrong, but because predictability is exploitable. In Renaissance politics, being understood was not safety, it was vulnerability. And so the powerful wore masks, not to deceive, but to protect. Here is a rule most people never realize they are breaking. The more people understand your emotions, the easier you are to control. When others can read, what makes you angry? What makes you insecure? What excites you? What hurts you? They don't need force. They only need timing. Being emotionally transparent feels honest, but it often gives others a map. Manipulators especially rely on patterns. They watch how you respond. They note what gets a reaction. They remember what makes you explain, defend, or justify. Then they press the same button again. Machiavelli understood this deeply. In his time, rulers who showed mercy too clearly were exploited. Those who showed anger too quickly were baited. Those who revealed fear were overthrown. But the ones who were unreadable, they created hesitation. And hesitation is power. How this shows up in modern life. Today, the battlefield looks different, but the psychology is identical. At work, if colleagues always know how you feel, they know when to push. If your mood is obvious, your leverage disappears. In relationships, if someone knows exactly how to upset you, they will, especially in conflict. In social dynamics, the person who is emotionally unpredictable but calm becomes respected, even feared. Not because they are cruel, but because no one knows how to move them. How to become calmly unreadable. This is not about manipulation. It is about self-command. Here's how to apply it ethically and safely. Step 1. Neutralize your reactions. Not inside, but outside. Feel everything. Show little. Your inner world is yours. Your outer world is strategic. Step 2. Vary your responses. Not emotionally, but behaviorally. Sometimes speak, sometimes don't. Sometimes engage briefly, sometimes disengage entirely. Consistency in values is strength. Consistency in reactions is vulnerability. Step 3. Share selectively. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, plans, or emotions. Privacy is not secrecy, it is self-respect. Step 4. Let others project. When you don't explain yourself, people fill the silence with their own assumptions, and those assumptions reveal far more about them than about you. What this rule gives you. When you become unreadable, you feel lighter. You stop overperforming emotionally. You stop being pulled into unnecessary drama. You realize something empowering. You don't need to be understood to be respected. In fact, mystery often earns more respect than explanation ever could. People stop trying to provoke you because they no longer know what will work. And slowly, quietly, you become untouchable. But Machiavelli knew one final danger. When people can't read you, some will try to expose you. They will gossip. They will provoke publicly. They will attempt to force a reaction in front of others. And the final rule decides whether you remain powerful or get pulled back into the noise. Number 5. Let them reveal themselves while you say nothing. In the final years of Renaissance intrigue, the most dangerous figures were not the loud generals or fiery speakers. They were the quiet observers. Niccolò Machiavelli noticed a pattern that separated survivors from casualties. Those who tried to expose others often exposed themselves instead, if given enough space. In the courts, accusations were common. So were rumors. Traps were laid daily. The wise did not rush to defend. They did not chase truth publicly. They waited. Because time, silence, and restraint caused enemies to overplay their hand. And once someone revealed who they truly were, no explanation was needed. Here is the final, uncomfortable truth. People cannot hide forever when they are not being interrupted. When you argue, you interrupt their mistakes. When you explain, you soften their behavior. When you react, you shift attention away from them. Silence does the opposite. Silence creates space. And in that space, people talk too much, act too boldly, push too far. Manipulators depend on engagement. They need resistance to justify escalation. But when you give them nothing, no anger, no defense, no panic, they grow reckless. They repeat themselves. They exaggerate. They contradict earlier claims. And slowly everyone sees it. Machiavelli understood this cruel irony. The most effective exposure requires no action at all. How this plays out in modern life. You've seen this, even if you didn't realize it. At work, someone undermines you quietly, hoping you'll explode. You don't. You stay consistent. They grow bolder and sloppy. Soon, others notice. In relationships, someone provokes you to feel justified in mistreating you. You don't react. They escalate emotionally. Their mask slips. In social circles, someone spreads rumors, expecting confrontation. You don't chase it. They repeat the story too often. People start questioning them, not you. Silence lets patterns surface. How to let this work for you? This rule requires patience, but it is devastatingly effective. Step 1. Do not interrupt their behavior. Let them speak. Let them act. Let them show consistency or lack of it. Step 2. Stay predictable in values, unpredictable in response. Be calm, be fair, be steady, never emotional on demand. Step 3. Document quietly, not publicly. Clarity does not need an audience until it does. Step 4. Trust time more than confrontation. Time reveals what arguments never can. You are not passive, you are strategic. What this final rule gives you: when you master this, you stop needing revenge. You stop needing validation. You stop needing to win conversations. You gain something far rarer: peace with power. You understand that dignity does not shout, truth does not chase, and strength does not explain itself. Others exhaust themselves trying to control the narrative. You remain still, and stillness always outlasts noise. Across centuries, one truth remains unchanged. Those who react are controlled. Those who explain are judged. Those who stay silent decide. Never react emotionally. Never explain yourself unnecessarily. Never rush to be understood. Power does not argue its existence. It waits, it watches, it endures. And in the end, power is quiet. Before you leave, pause for a moment. If these ideas felt familiar, if you've ever stayed silent and felt stronger because of it, if you've ever walked away from a reaction and realized you just kept your power, then this channel is for you. This is not content for people who want noise. This is for those who want clarity. For those who are tired of explaining themselves to the wrong people. For those who understand that real strength is calm, quiet, and deliberate. If you want more timeless wisdom like this, drawn from history, psychology, and the unspoken rules of power, subscribe. Not for hype, not for drama, but for insight that stays with you long after the video ends. And if this video gave you even one moment of stillness, one moment where you felt more in control than before, then like the video. It helps this wisdom reach others who need it. Leave a comment if you felt this message, even a single word. Not to argue, not to explain, just to mark that you were here, because the quiet ones are always watching. And if you're ready to master silence instead of fighting noise, you already know what to do next.